Oh, there you go.
Right. Well, you can see the sun is setting in my back window. Can you see that? All right. All right, you guys, it's 6:30. Should we give it a couple minutes or should we just plow right ahead? 2 minutes? Okay, we can do 2 minutes. How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We look like we're gonna blow away over here in Idaho. What's everybody else's weather doing?
Our weather is
Perfect.
ugly in Maryland. It's gray and dreary and gross, and I want to go back to the West Coast.
Oh, well, come on over. You can blow over here from the way my trees
Right?
are flying past the windows.
For real.
Oh
It's
my God.
perfect fall in upstate New York today.
Pretty?
Like sunny and gorgeous and leaves.
Nice.
Highly
Fallish.
approved.
Fallish.
Can you
Fallish.
send that down here, Jack? Because it's a little gross here.
I blew it down.
Oh man, we were in the 80s last week, mid 80s, and then just towards as the weekend kind of approached, it started cooling off and being a little more fall like. So we had our first soup Sunday of the season on Sunday night. So it's that time of year. All
Nice.
right, let's see here. Okay. All right. Well, we got our 2 minutes. Everybody good to go? All right. We are going to talk about consistency. Right? All right. Everybody can, like, I guess, raise your hand if you think consistency is important. Yes. Raise your hand again if you think you are as consistent as you would like to be. This is a group of overachievers for sure. So I don't think anybody's as consistent as they would like to be. I know I'm not. And so some of this is, aspirational for me too. So this is this is some ideas for how we can do better, why it's important to be more consistent, and then some tips and tricks that we can use to be more consistent. But I first of all, disclaimer, want to say I don't have it all figured out. I'm just sharing what I've learned. Okay. Let's see, can I figure out how to mute everybody?
Yeah, there's got to be a way to mute everybody.
I'm never the. Do we get everybody? I think it. I don't know. I guess I can mute individuals, but it seems like we're good now. Okay. All right. So I think I'm going to try to share my screen because I just happen to have slides. All right. Okay. Nobody judge all of my tabs that are open. Get those hidden. Okay. All right. Let Karen in. All right, consistency. We all agree it's important. We all want to know how to do it better. And I think we're always going to be striving for that. I know I am always striving for that. I'm always I feel like I'm on my 10th or 12th kind of rewrite of how I organize my life and try to do better. Some things stick and some things never stick, no matter what I do. All right, so. It's not letting me change screens. I might not be able to do this. Can you guys hear it going bonk bonk? All right, I thought it would let me. I'm gonna stop sharing. I don't need to share. You guys don't need slides, right? That's way too high tech. All right, well, the slides won't let me change slides, so that doesn't do me very much good. So I'm just going to talk with you guys about what was on the slides. I've got my little notes right here. So there are several reasons why consistency is important. And probably we kind of know this innately, but we're going to talk very specifically about those things. Because I think sometimes when we know why it's important at a little bit more deep level, it might help us to really strive toward it and understand why we continue to strive for it. I'm trying to figure out speak view. Okay. I'm gonna mute a few people here. All right. I don't know why it's showing. Anyways, I'm not going to worry about what it's showing on my screen. Okay, so consistency is important. Has anybody watched Lula Rich on Netflix? I haven't watched it yet, but my bonus daughter texted me and said, Jenny, have you seen this? Because it's all about, I think it highlights some of the reasons there are trust issues in our industry. And so the number one reason I think consistency is important is because it builds trust, right? We have an industry that has a little bit of a reputation problem. I think we can all agree. I just want to make this so the recording looks a little bit better here. Maybe that'll work. Okay. So I think, I think we can all agree that we have a little bit of an image problem that we can work on. One of the ways we can do that is by being consistent. We show up, we do what we say we're going to do. We don't disappear. We continue to work our business and share our products consistently. And people know then that they can trust us, they can trust our product, they can trust our company. Another reason why that building of trust is important is because a lot of people in our industry don't get good training and they don't know what they're doing. And so when we show up and we do it well, we're not spammy and we're not salesy. That helps us all, right? We also can build momentum when we're consistent. So when you show up, so we were talking about this today with a bunch of other consultants that I was in a meeting with, and they were saying how, when you first start up, you have this excitement and you're sharing and you're telling everybody about your business and you're building momentum, right? So what do you think happens when you stop? When the person who you convinced BFF was the best face wash on the planet tries to get it from you and you don't respond because you've taken the summer off. I mean, that makes it hard to continue your momentum. It breaks the trust and it slows down your momentum. We haven't really talked about this for a while at Posh, but we used to talk a lot about how your business, your brand, Posh had to be seen like 12 or more times before someone would start to really recognize it and feel like it was a legit, trustworthy brand. And you spend a lot of time and you get a lot of crickets while you're sharing 12 times and getting the information out there. And then you stop. And then you have to do it all over again, except you probably have to do it even more because you've lost your momentum and you've lost your trust. And every time you stop, so if you take every summer off or you take every, December and January off, every time you stop, you're starting from even further back. You're not starting from the starting line. You're starting from behind the starting line because you've lost the trust and you've lost the momentum. And it takes so much more effort to build it again. Yeah. Okay. So also one of the things about building momentum, when we first start, we're introducing Posh to new people. We get in a few hostesses and they share it with their friends and then their friends share it with their friends. And, we're building out. Well, we always talk about how we start with our warm market and we move out, when you stop, you can't always restart with that warm market. You totally lose your momentum. And that is really the magic of our business. Like it's a pretty simple business when you're consistent and you keep doing it and you and you honor people's trust in you. So when you stop, you can't restart with your warm market because you've already gone through them. And then you have to kind of start with the cold market. Skill, the more you do it, the better you get at it. I think that is completely true. And I think I kind of like to compare this to the first time I ever took my son roller skating. Does anybody used to roller skate when they were a kid? Like that was the highlight of my 6th grade year. Almost everybody had a roller skating birthday party. It was so amazing. But if you think back, I can't even really remember the first time I strapped wheels onto my feet. But I got to watch it when I took my son. His little cousin Vicente had a roller skating birthday party. I think they were probably like 5 or 6, somewhere in there. And he was excited to go because he loved Vicente, but he didn't really know what he was getting into. So we got there, we got the roller skates on, and he was like, "Oh no, Mom, I'm not doing this. These wheels do not belong on my feet." But I was so enthusiastic about roller skating that I finally convinced him, like, just to come out on the floor just for a little bit. He can hold on to the rail, I'll hold his hand. And we went a little ways. But like on the rink, you can go in here and then you go a little bitty ways and you go right back out to where the chairs are. He was ready to go right back out, but I didn't let him. Because I really wanted to roller skate. I was so excited. I hadn't roller skated for years. So I got him to stay. And I said, let's just go one time around. And, we held onto the wall all the way around, and it was clumsy and it was slow. And there were a lot of wobbling moments and stuff, but we made it all the way around. And then a great song came on that we both loved, and we were feeling a little more comfortable. So I got him to stay out there with me. And by the end of the party, he was ready to go. "Mom, when do we get to come roller skating again?" Because he was so excited. It felt good. It was fun. It was new. And I feel like follow-up is a little bit like that. Like the first time you go to follow up with someone, it feels like you just strap some wheels on your feet. It's clumsy. It probably looks pretty clumsy and sounds pretty clumsy to others because most of us are not naturals at it. But if you stop doing it, you never get to be good at it. You got to keep going. Keep going every time you get better. Like instead of just taking the first out, push through, do it a little bit more until you've done all the way around the rink, and then it feels pretty good and you kind of get in your groove, and then pretty soon it feels really natural, and it's like you've always gone around in an oval with wheels on your feet. It gets better. And if you don't work at this consistently, you never get to that point where it feels natural and feels good. And if I'm being really honest, you cannot build your business without doing follow-up. It's just that important. So you might as well get good at it. And consistency is one of the ways you can do that. The fourth reason to be consistent is because it builds good habits. Now, habits can work for you or against you, right? I think I know I definitely have my share of bad habits. This one does not work for me, but I love it anyway. And so here I am having a glass of wine while I'm training with you guys. But the habits that work for you, like consistently following up, even if you just pick one day a week, or if you do one crucial conversation a day with someone to join your team, those kind of habits really work in your favor. So 4 good reasons to continue being consistent in your business are build habits, build skill, build momentum, and build trust. I think we can all agree that those are really important things. All right, so Jamie, sorry. I have to get used to doing the admit thing. Sorry about that. Okay, so being consistent. Sounds great, right? We all want to do it, but life gets lifey, right? It can be tricky. I get it. And we've got people who are working 40 hours a week, plus they've got kids in all kinds of sports and they're doing all of those things. Posh is my main gig, and I take care of my mom, and my husband's working from home, and my son is apparently very high maintenance. So even for someone who doesn't have quite as many things going on, it's hard to find the time, right? But if you want to be consistent, it's important to carve out the time. So let's talk about, maybe you guys can unmute yourselves and tell me, when do you guys find 1 to 2 hours to work your business?
I Posh whenever my kids are taking a nap because it's quiet and I don't have to worry about the interruptions.
Yes, I definitely did that when Henry was a little bitty guy. I started when he was about a year old. So yes, a lot of poshing happened during naps. That's a really good one. What else have you guys got for me?
Right now, after bedtime.
Oh yes, it's after bedtime where you live, isn't it? Nice, yes. So for the night owls, that's a really good time. Perfect.
I
Early
do it.
morning before my kids wake up.
Yes, Vanessa, that's me too. I'm not a night owl. I'm done at about 8 o'clock. My brain is mush. But I've been getting up at 5:30 in the morning since about the time and I started with Posh to do that. And that's a much better time for me, for sure. What else you got for me, guys?
I get 45 minutes in solid at school pickup.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you go early, get the good spot, right?
Yep, exactly.
Nice. Yes, that's a good call for sure. And while they're at school, right? If you've got kids in school and nobody's at home, that is a good time. Anybody else got other times they squeeze in those 1 to 2 hours?
When I don't have to go to work for my full-time job.
Nice. Yes, for sure. Is that weekdays, weekends, whenever you can find the time?
Honestly, I go off of my planner, and now I have a planner with both my job and Posh. That way I can peek, and I do 2 different colors. So Posh is pink, of course. And then my job is red because I work at a dialysis center.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then going to school to be a dialysis nurse.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. And what, if you have a hard time finding those times, let's see here. I did something. All right. I know it's hard. There is no question. It's tricky. But finding 1 to 2 hours can make a big difference because there are some things, at least for me, they just take a little more concentration, a little more brain power. Like it takes a little time to get into them, and then to actually execute takes more time as well. So finding those 1 to 2 hours is important. If you have to find a way to get your family out of the house, like a lot of times on Monday nights when the weather was nicer, my husband was taking my husband Victor and his friend and Henry were taking his friends to hit golf balls. They went to the driving range. So that would give me like an hour and a half of poshing time. Or maybe it's taking the kids to soccer practice, or maybe it's when your hubby goes to watch Monday Night Football or things like that, like finding a way to have that quiet time. And some people are really good at just concentrating amidst the chaos, but I am not one of those people. So if you need some quiet, those are some tips for maybe how you can find that. What about finding 15 minutes? Is that easier? Maybe. When would you find 15 minutes? One of my 15 minutes is in the car pickup line because I never get there quite that early. But I like to do follow-ups. Like today, I took a picture of, I followed up with people who placed an order in a recent bulk order that I did, and I just messaged them while I was waiting for the bell to ring. So when else do you guys find 15 minutes of time that you can posh?
Sometimes before I start my full-time job, I spend 15, sometimes a half hour just doing, getting things ready, some samples, writing down like what I'm going to do for the day with Posh. And then after my full-time job, I try to spend some time doing the follow-ups and different things like that as well.
Nice. That's awesome. That is
Does
that's a
it
really
count
good
if I say I use 15 minutes all day just because it seems like that's all the attention span my kids have?
I think that sounds perfect and like real life for sure. What else you got for 15 minutes? Where can you find it?
I usually do it on my lunch break. If I'm doing like a quick 15, 20 minutes, sometimes it's during my lunch break.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's what I do too. A lot of times in the morning at my break time at work, I'll just sit down and go through and send out emails and stuff like that.
Nice. Cool. What else? Anybody else got other ideas?
I usually do it when my kiddos are in the bathtub. It sounds crazy, but I have a 2-year-old and a 9-year-old, and sometimes they take a bath together.
Mhm.
And I bust out samples and I'm looking through, like what customers I haven't reached out to in my VO. So it's a really nice time to kind of sit down and like watch them take a bath, have fun, and then I'm doing my poshing for
Oh
15
yes. Many a time I sat on the toilet watching my kid take a bath with my laptop doing some Posh.
Yep.
Gotta squeeze it in when you can. You know, I used to I would make sample packets while Henry was at jujitsu. Was one of the ones. Sometimes you can squeeze in some time when you're waiting for appointments, like before you get your hair done, or you're at the dentist, or things like that. Those are some other good times when you can do some things that can be quick and probably can be done from your phone, so you don't have to worry about taking a bunch of stuff with you. So awesome, good, 15 minutes. And you know what? That is really where the magic happens, really, because most of us, the people who are working this business, are busy people. They've got stuff going on. None of us really just has Posh, right? So finding those little nooks and crannies, and that's what we're always talking about, to fit your business into is super duper important. For me, one of the ways I figure out how I'm going to do my 1 to 2 hour things and my 15-minute things, I kind of create a list of things that I have to concentrate on and things I can do on the fly. So things that I can do just from my phone or in my car or something like that. In my car while I'm not driving, but while I'm, waiting or something like that. All right. That's awesome, you guys. So you guys have figured out where you're going to find your time slots. Now we're going to talk about, so I said, I make a list. It's kind of morphed, like I said, over time. I've kind of revised my organization systems so many times in my life. So many times. Right now I'm kind of doing a bulleting system, but anyway, we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But the only thing that really is important, because there's a million ways to do it, is that you do plan ahead, that you have a list, or you have a calendar, or you have a spot where you know what needs to be done. Because life, but also, have you guys heard of decision fatigue? Does anybody have a hard time figuring out what to make for dinner? That is because by the time 4 o'clock rolls around, your brain is tired of making decisions. You have decision fatigue. Your brain is on strike. It's not going to make any more decisions. So I for years and years and years, until probably 2 years ago, I was like, I'm not a meal planner, but I figured out finally that the reason I never knew it's not I never had food in the house. I had food, but making the decision about what to cook was the hardest part. I like cooking. I don't really like cleaning up, but I like cooking. And so once I figured that out, it was much easier. So that's exactly the way the lists work for you. So you've got your 2 hours. Your husband takes the kids out and you have 2 hours while they're at soccer or whatever. What are you going to do? Well, you don't want to spend 45 minutes of that figuring out what you're going to do, right? Or you have 15 minutes in the pickup line. What are you going to do? You want to be able to quick reference. Okay, here's my list of what needs to happen right now. That's on I can do it on the fly list, or whatever you want to call it. Because your brain is going to spend way too much time thinking about it, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, oh, look at that funny video on TikTok. So we don't want to do that, right? I mean, we probably do want to do that some, and sometimes we deserve that. Our brain just wants to rest. So this is not any TikTok shaming going on here, but most of us also would just really like to have some check marks on that to-do list at the end of the night, to feel like you really accomplished something, instead of sitting there thinking, where did the day go? Man, I feel like I didn't get anything done today, but I was busy. I felt like I was busy, but I didn't accomplish anything. So having the list prevents decision fatigue and helps you to get things done. So things that you can do on the fly. What do you guys do when you have 15 or 20 minutes?
Make a set of samples.
Make a set of samples. Yeah. How about you, Karen?
Follow up with customers.
Follow up. Yep. That's my go-to, because I've got Posh Pro right in my phone. I can always follow up with customers.
I usually schedule my posts from my VIP group and get those kind of going for the week.
Yeah, that's a great one for sure. What else you got? Do a quick live check-in. That's a good idea. Yeah, you can go, minivan moments, right? You can go live from your car or anywhere pretty much. That's a great one. What else you got? You can, if it's 15 minutes in the morning while you're waiting for your son to spend 15 minutes finding his shoes and socks and get ready to walk out the door, you could take a picture of yourself with the feature of the week product and post that. I don't know if that sounds familiar to anybody else, but that's my life every morning. I'm looking, I made some lists, put some stickers on some samples, stickers on catalogs. I mean, that's the stuff that takes no brain power. I have a box where I put the things that need stickers. And then if I ever just have a little bit of time, grab it, sticker, sticker, sticker. What else you got? If you're, if you're sitting there waiting in line for something fun that you're doing, you could take a picture of you and your family and do kind of like a thanks posh kind of post or lifestyle kind of post. What else? Anything else come to mind for those 15 minutes?
I'm a huge fan of Snapchat because you can put whatever you want on the font. You can even put, I don't know, homecomings around the corner. Don't let breakouts get the best of you. And then you could put like a picture of BFF, and then like a football person and a homecoming queen.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of sales with that, and people are like, that's pretty cool. Like, I never thought of that. That's really neat.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a super good idea. I like it. I like it. What else? Anybody else got ideas to share? Let's see what else is on my list. I think Sarah Robbins shared this. You guys, some of you might have seen her at UnCon at one time or another, but she would talk about how when she was building her business, she would take out with her when she went to go run errands or whatever. She would take, let's say, 5 sample packs, and she wouldn't come home until she'd hand them all out. So that's one thing you can do wherever you're at, no matter what you're doing. Let's see here. Oh, one other thing. I don't know about you guys. I leave my texts and my Facebook messages marked as unresponded to until I have time to actually respond to them. So sometimes that is what I'm doing when I'm waiting for something to start. I'll go through and see what messages I haven't responded to, because if I open them, I'll never remember to respond if I can't do it right away. And what else have I got on there? Another good thing to do if you are scrolling, maybe not TikTok, I don't know exactly how that works other than to watch the videos, but if you're on Facebook, try to think, who are the clients of yours that you haven't talked to for a while? Go to their Facebook page and comment and make remarks on what they're posting about, or send them a message and just saying, hey, I saw your daughter, her homecoming pictures were gorgeous. That must have been fun for you guys, and just start the conversation. That's definitely one of my follow-ups in my system, is just when I feel I've had too many talks about posh, the next one is always going to be about something not posh, probably something that they've posted about or something I know is going on for them that is not related at all. So I need to see if I can look at the chat. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Sorry, guys. All right. Focused effort. Now, what do you guys work on when you have a chunk of time, when you have 1 to 2 hours? I've tried to reserve those times for things that take a lot of brain power. What do you guys spend your time on when you have those? I'll kick one out there just to get it started. One of, like, if I'm revising my whole Facebook party and I'm creating new graphics and trying to think about which products I want to highlight, something that takes just a little more intentional thought would be something I would do during a bigger block of time, for example.
I got one. This calendaring,
Yes.
doing all of, like, it's what I'm doing right now, listening to you, working through planning, like where I have to be when I have pockets of time to work so that I can hold myself accountable.
Mhm.
That takes about an hour every week.
Yeah, for sure. You really have to plan ahead to do all the things and feel good about it, right? Awesome. What else do you guys do in your bigger blocks of time? Nobody has big blocks of time, do they? It's hard. I know. I get it. Strategic planning, maybe like, so maybe setting quarterly goals or annual goals. Maybe if I have a little bigger block of time, I might spend some time looking at my kind of dream team list, my fence sitters list of people who might want to join me in the business, and figuring out like who should stay on that list and who else should I add to that list so that I can get them into some of my systems that include them in getting the regular, just touches from me to encourage them to join my team. Recognition is one of the things that takes a pretty good chunk of time for me. So that first week of the month, there's always a good hour to 2 hours spent specifically going through reports and recognizing the people who have done extraordinary things in the previous month. And that's one that I definitely want to concentrate. I don't want to get those wrong or miss anybody. What else you got?
I just
So-
revamped my hostess packets, and that took quite a bit of effort to get a fair share of those pre-made so that it's a grab and go versus a sit down and do it all. So I like personalize a note to the hostess, but the hostess packets are all the same.
Nice. Yes, I love that. Just making sure it's fresh and it has all the right content, and then I love it. That's a good one. I have down here my pink packet. So what I would send to someone who's considering the business is something that I might revise and try to create new documents for new images and stuff. So yeah, that's a good one. Creating systems for anything in your business is something that you want to have a little bit of focus on so that you can create them and execute them in a way that will make things easier for you, right? All right. Anything else during your 1 to 2 hour blocks, guys?
I was gonna say, I hire my 9-year-old daughter, and when I say hire, at the end of the month, when she helps me with little packets, I give her like a lip balm here, or I do like a little sample pack just for her and her friends, something small, nothing crazy, and she
Nice.
loves it. She absolutely loves it. I've even gifted her some fizzies, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I love these. I want more."
Nice.
So in a way, it kind of helps her because she's learning how to be organized and responsibility, and then she gets the reward, and not right away. She gets it at the end of the month.
That's
So
pretty smart.
yeah, she loves it, and she's like, "I'm gonna sell Posh when I'm old enough," and I'm like, "Okay, you go, girl."
I like it. I keep trying to convince my son to work for something other than screen time, but right now that's the only thing he seems to care about. Crazy child. All right. Well, those are good ideas of things like bigger picture things, planning things that you want to spend your 1 to 2 hour big blocks of time on. So awesome. So let's see, we've got lists of things that we might want to do. And then how do we decide each day? So this is one of the things I kind of did want to show you guys. I stole this one right here from Bonnie Dodge. Does anybody know Bonnie? She's just the sweetest thing. But she shared this at a training a while back. But she said she gets up in the morning, like she grabs her phone, which most of us use for our alarm, hits snooze, and then that 9 minutes before the alarm goes off again, she gets online and just checks and sees if there's anything on there she needs to take care of. And then when the snooze goes off, she turns off her alarm and she gets up and she starts figuring out what she's going to do. So she's got her one priority for the day. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to have like these super long lists, and there's no way in heck I can ever accomplish all those in a day, right? So we've got to make it reasonable so that we can get them done and feel good about it at the end of the day. So she has her one priority. She's got 3 kind of doable tasks. These are probably your like 15-minute things. And then she's got like 5 small tasks. So maybe it's send something to your hostess that's coming up, send some samples, or it's something like follow up with last weekend's hostess to make sure they understood how to use their perks or something like that. 5 just quick things that you can do pretty fast. I don't know if that helps at all. But I thought this was a really good way to organize your time. And it's something that I did for a while. And I wanted to share it with you because I feel like there's lots of different systems that work. And this one might be one that would work for each of you guys. right now I'm kind of doing, oh, I didn't grab my bullet planner. I'm doing bullet planning. Have you guys heard of bullet planning? Has anybody like spent half their life looking at bullet planning videos? Because there are a shload of them, so many of them. And so I was like, oh, this podcast that I listened to is called Pantsuit Politics. They were talking about how they started bullet planning. I'm like, oh, I should check that out. So I went and I Googled it and I lost half a day because people were so creative. Like, this year I have a gold theme and I've got all these gold accents in my bullet planner. And I literally have a grid notebook that I just write stuff in. There is no art in mine, but that is how it works for me. So, but it's really good because it's got a system for what I need to do each month, what I need to do each week. And then each morning when I get up, I figure out what the priorities are for the day. And then I look at the day before and I can move things forward that need to be moved forward that I didn't accomplish the day before. It's a good system. I would highly recommend checking out the one like 7-minute video by the person who created the bullet journaling system, and skip all the rest of that unless you guys really are interested in all the stickers and the art and all that kind of stuff. But the system itself, I think, has some really good components that work. Does anybody else have good ideas that they use to keep organized? Do you use a planner? Do you use electronic Google list or something like that?
So I use a weekly list. You can't really see it very well, but it literally marks off on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can prioritize it. I can check it off because I'm a checker.
Nice.
And I can move stuff over. So if it doesn't get done one day, I know I can do it the next. And I'm a huge calendar planner freak. So I have like a broad range of things on my planner that I know have to get done, like the Posh Bosh trainings and tonight's training and things like that. I don't always put it on here just because it's things that just become second nature to me. But like making samples and hostess coaching and sending out samples and all of the things I forget.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. What else are you guys using? Planners, calendars, to-do lists?
So I'm similar to Nicole. I showed you guys my planner. I have like a week layout. And then I also I found these at Target, you guys. It's a Post-it product. But it's like you write in like the things that I write in the things I have to leave the house for on here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm working on that right now. And then I'll take this out, and because it's sticky, I'll stick it to the page in my planner so that I have like this red note that tells me like when I need to leave.
Yeah.
So I got this at Target. It was on sale in the card section for $1.99. And there's a lot of pages, so I'm a big fan. I think these are great. And I'm looking for the other thing that I use, but it's not here. That's fine. I also use a week at a glance. I don't know, it's just like a piece of paper, but I use a week at a glance, and that's what I write out where the kids have to be. So I like stick all those together so that I don't miss anything, because I miss stuff all the time.
That's awesome. I love it. I have a similar thing with a sticky note list thing, that I have a list of things errands I need to run in my car. And when the weather's nicer, I have errands I can do on my bike because I like to bike as much as I can. So then, and I don't want to leave my house unless I have several things to do, so then I take those and I put them right inside my bullet planner, and then I could just take that with me or just cross it off, because those change and they land on whatever day of the week I can get out of the house. So
I love with the stickies too. I stick them, I can't show you my desktop because obviously I'm on it, but there's freaking sticky notes all around here, and I can take them with me, which is helpful to like, if I have a task that needs to get done, I'll stick that in my planner and leave so that I don't forget.
Yes, I love it. Very good. All right, so there are lots of good tips. There are also just things like when you're trying to build habits, I can share this document I printed this out in black and white thinking it was just going to be my notes and you guys would see my colorful screen, but can you, oh, it's backwards too. Dang it. Anyway, it's a habit tracker, and it's something you might have seen floating around. Shalene and Shanae did a big training this summer on, they had a group on building atomic habits. And this is one of the things that they were training on. It's just a habit tracker. It shows, it picks 5 different areas: customer follow-ups, getting product on people, product experiences, team connections, and potential team member contacts. And then there's each day of the week, and you just check off, and each week of the month, and then you check off, and it's a really good way to start building those habits, because you're checking off whether you're doing those things each day and building the habit. So I can share that document easy so that everybody can see it. I'll share it in our chat where we set up these Zooms. So that's a really good trick for building habits. There is, I have these things, but I'm not going to get it. But there is Atomic Habits. You can't tell on that picture. There's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and that's what Shalene and Shanae were talking about this summer. Is a good one. It's got lots of tips in it. It's very thorough. You could do multiple hour-long trainings on it, much more than that actually. But has some good things that I think just really quickly I will cover, just to make sure you guys have some ideas of what you can get more of in this book. But for example, one of the tips he suggests is that you connect habits with time and location. So for me, and I just kind of had done this, so it's an accidental thing, but it works really well. I've connected the habit of doing follow-ups with right before school pickup in line while I'm waiting for the bell to ring. So the time and location piece, I automatically get there and I pull up my phone and I start seeing who needs a follow-up on my Posh Pro. One of the ones he talks about is rewards. How many of you guys reward yourself? Like if you get the monthly award for that month, do you go get a manicure or go get a massage or something like that? So tying a specific behavior that you want to build with a reward could be really important. Like when I get 2 new teammates this month, I will schedule a massage because I've earned it, right? So pairing something you like to do with something you need to do. So one of mine is often I will take my dog for a walk, which I like to do. And I will pair that with listening to one of Pat's trainings or Tuesday trainings or other professional development things that I'm trying to do. So pairing something I like to do with something I need to do. Also, who is watching The Morning Show on Apple TV or Ted Lasso? Yes. Or what else? What's on Netflix? I'm trying to think. I know not everybody has Apple TV. The Bridgertons, so many good ones. So the reason I picked Ted Lasso or The Morning Show first is because those are only released 1 a week. So I get very excited when they come on. So when Ted Lasso comes on, I get all of my sample making supplies and I make samples while I watch Ted Lasso. And that's a way to pair something I really want to do with something I really need to do. So finding some ways to do things like that really can help you to build those habits and to just check the things off your list that you know you need to do. I think I probably should call it a night because I was planning to be a little shorter on this. Oh, I exercise while I watch The Circle on Netflix. That's a good one. Exactly. Ted Lasso. All right. I'm going to share this too. I don't know if this will work for you guys to snap this screenshot of this QR code. But this, I wanted to give you a takeaway. And this is a link to a video about my one of my best systems that I love, love, love. It's my thank you sample follow-up system. And basically, it's a system that I put in place 4 years ago now. But it's a system where every month I send a sample and a thank you note to everyone who shopped with me the previous month. And attached to that are some other systems, pieces of the system that I use. And this would be called habit stacking in that book. But I send them the thank you sample. I go into my VIP group and I do a thank you to everybody who shopped with me last month and I tag them. And then at the same time, I do a 2 week later post saying, hey, did you get your sample? What did you think? And then right after that, anybody I couldn't tag, I go out and I invite into my VIP group, so I know I haven't left anybody behind. And then even in order to send the sample, I have to get caught up on all my data entry. So it's just it's like a process that gets everything going. It keeps everything in place for so many other things that I do in my business. So if you're interested in doing something like that, this is how you get to it. I can also share the link. Sorry, I couldn't put the slide up. But this talks about all the details of how I do it. But it's a good example of creating a system and a habit that is non-negotiable for me every single month, all through COVID. Even when I was moving my mom back from New Hampshire, no matter what was happening, this happened because it is just the cornerstone of all the other things that I'm doing. So habits are super important. So with that being said, does anybody have anything they want to share or anything they want to ask about? All right. Well, good. I guess I covered it all. And my son is going to be deeply disappointed because I'm going to go get him off his iPad now. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you joining in and participating and sharing what you're doing in your business and where you're finding the little nooks and crannies to squeeze it all in. You guys are just awesome. And I'm so excited that we have lots of fun ahead this fall and a lot of good opportunities to build those consistent habits. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much. Bye. Mwah. And we'll have a recording, so we'll get that posted too, okay?
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night, ladies.